Hello, I'm Andy Martins. Welcome to another brand new month of ONNPoint. We'll start this month with a sizzle, and we'll be back with Treey Sheehan, the Member of Parliament for Sault Ste. Marie, right after these commercial breaks.
Whatever it takes, stopping and nothing, I'm up in your face, shaking it off, no matter the cost, I'm feeling the wind, I'm taking it all, I'm paving the way with the sweat and the blood, I'm at the top, I'm rising above, I want the gold, give me the rush, Queen Midas, I got the touch. I'm pushing, 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 I'm pushing.
Housed in a 15,000 square foot custom manufacturing facility built to produce world-class cabinetry at surprisingly affordable prices, Great Lakes Fine Cabinetry brings your project from initial concept to final design. Proudly providing Northern Michigan and the Algoma region with quality hand-built cabinetry for the past 20 years. Located at 844 East 3 Mile Road, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Great Lakes Fine Cabinetry, making your cabinetry dreams come true.
With over 45 years of experience, All Ontario Well Drilling offers hydrofracking and all well drilling services. Call 705-575-8088 or 705-257-9495.
At Maitland Ford Lincoln, we see our trucks everywhere. We see them on Queen Street, Lake Street, North Street, Bay Street, 2nd line, 3rd line, 4th line, Pine Street, Great Northern Peoples Road, Wellington, Cora Road, Bruce Street, Carmen's Way, Northern Ave, Trunk Road. Folks come from all over Algoma District and beyond to buy their truck at Maitland Ford Lincoln. Amazing prices, outstanding service. King Street, Shannon Road, Goulet Bay, Black Road, Everman Road, and even on Pine Shores. Yep, our trucks are everywhere. Get yours at Maitland Ford Lincoln, built for Northern life, on Great Northern Road, just north of the hospital.
Welcome back to ONNPoint. As mentioned off the opening, it's my extreme thrill and pleasure to welcome Treey Sheehan, the MP for Sault Ste. Marie, to the show. Welcome, Treey. Thanks for doing this.
Andy, thank you very much for having me on your show, and a belated Happy Canada Day.
Yes, we had a great time had by all for Canada Day, and we've got so much to talk about. Let's start with this. Porter Airlines, Treey, a lot of good things happening when we got Porter Airlines in May of 2011. You and I are both passionate about this. New flight simulators coming to Sault Ste. Marie. Tell me about that.
Well, Andy, first of all, I have to commend you on your work that you did in helping secure Porter. It was a real community effort. Porter makes decisions on where they go, and in talking with their CEO, a lot of that has to do with community embracement, and I think that was really, really critical what you did. I've worked very closely with Porter and Air Canada. We're breaking records now with...
Oh, okay, Treey, stand by. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Have a great business idea but don't know where to start? Need help taking your business to the next level? C2C Business Services can be your guide in navigating the path of entrepreneurship, with services ranging from grant funding support, access to service experts, market information, and helping your business adopt new technologies to create and foster a culture of innovation for ongoing success. Call C2C Business Services and let them be your first step in taking your entrepreneurial dreams from concept to commerce. C2C Business Services is a division of the Sault Ste. Marie Innovation Centre.
it takes. Stopping and nothing, I'm up in your face. Shaking it off, no matter the cost. I'm feeling the wind, I'm taking it all. I'm paving the way with the sweat and the blood. I'm at the top, rising above. I want the gold, give me the rush. Queen Midas, I got the touch. I'm pushing, I'm pushing, I'm pushing. 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 I'm pushing, I'm pushing, I'm pushing.
Welcome back to On Point. I'm Andy Martins. We had that little technical glitch, and we're all cleared up and ready to go back with Terry Sheehan, the MP of Sault Ste. Marie. And we were talking about Porter Airlines. Thank you very much, Terry. You and I were both passionate about this 8-9 years ago, and Sault Ste. Marie really benefits from Porter Airlines. Our community benefits.
Well, it sure does. It makes us much more competitive having the other airline here. You've seen prices drop significantly. You're seeing a lot of business people being able to operate businesses in Toronto and Sault Ste. Marie. They're back and forth. You're seeing tourism up. You're seeing business up. You're seeing leisure up. And overall, the airport corporation, we've made a lot of investments there too as well, are telling us that it's record-breaking numbers, doubling what they used to have. So that also lends to the competitiveness for the community. As you know, the JD also, which fixes Porter Airlines, set up here. They started with a handful of people. They're up to 130 people. And they're servicing other airlines. It's always interesting when you fly into Sault Ste. Marie and you see all these airlines from around the world being fixed right here in Sault Ste. Marie. But you know, we recognize that Sault Ste. Marie is becoming quite a hub. Sault College has always been the best trainer of pilots in the world. And as you mentioned, Andy, we invested in the Sault College Aviation program recently for almost $800,000. And it's basically going to double up their capacity to train. You know, we're increasing the number of simulators. There's renovations being made both at Sault College and out at the airport hangars.
Right.
And so one of the things that Porter came to see me, Robert, who you've met before, the CEO, and he said there's a pilot shortage and we need to address that. So I was pleased to act on that and find you know, this partnership with Sault College. So we're able to train a lot more people. And airlines, Air Canada and Porter, they are very, very important to this community, as well as the other airlines such as Bearskin, you know, the various other places that go south, the Sunwings, you know, and whatnot. And so basically, Andy, you know, you have to be very much patted on the back for what you did, because as I mentioned earlier, it was Porter goes to communities where they feel a great deal of acceptance and welcoming. So I'm pleased to see the growth at the locally in our airlines, and it is really, really helping our economy flourish.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. Yeah, I did meet with them in June of 2010, and we had great results to have Porter here in May of 2011. Can we utilize Porter more in attracting people and possibly employers to come to Sault Ste. Marie from all over Ontario and Eastern Canada, where Porter flies, and the United States for that matter?
Well, I agree, and you're seeing more and more utilization at the airport. You're seeing Americans coming across the border using Porter. I anecdotally had ran into somebody who flew to this area because they wanted to, and they were from the eastern seaboard of the United States, and they did the research, and the best value was using Porter to come to this area. They rented a car, they drove all around northern Ontario and northern Michigan. But there's a lot more we can do. You know, one of the things that we always have to do is combat perception. Some people, and it's been mentioned to me by different business people, you know, that you know, working with the city and the EDC is to make sure that people understand that we're just over an hour from Toronto.
Right.
You know, if you ask somebody from even Toronto how far is Sault Ste. Marie an air flight, they might say a couple hours, you know, 2 or 3 hours, but that's incorrect. You know, it's, you're up and down literally quickly. And Porter does serve the downtown, so you could easily come up here, I know that people are doing lots of training and whatnot here. We have a new owner out at Searchmount who I'm going to be meeting with soon to talk about how we can promote Searchmount. And I think Porter and Air Canada can play a feature in that, where people can get on a plane, be here, and be skiing in no time. So that lends to both leisure but business. You could do a lot of business kind of retreats up there. So there's so much potential. Again, we've doubled our numbers at the airport, but we want to capitalize on that and continue to grow this really, really hot economy.
The new owner of Searchmount seems very dynamic and a go-getting attitude to get things done for this community.
I agree, and it's where it should be in the private sector hands. And I first of all want to applaud all those people that have worked out at Searchmount over the years to keep it running. I know how important it is. It's probably the largest elevation between Quebec and the Rockies, and we have a lot of opportunities to. Back in the day, I used to work at the water tower end. I spent one season at Searchmount, managing the lodge as a favor to the Hill Singers, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But we need to get back to those days where there were buses after buses after buses, and so I'm willing to use my experience and knowledge to sit down and brainstorm with people in the community about how we reach out to local markets, but also Northern Ontario and also the Midwest, which is a huge market and potential for us.
And the Prime Minister realizes too how important Sault Ste. Marie is. You've had him here a couple times, and with the steel tariff, you got that done. Congratulations. And that was probably a tough go. You were thinking, is this ever going to end at times?
It was. I think it was one of our most critical times in our recent economic history was the tariff issue, and I can tell you that it was a real team effort here locally. We all got together. I was down in Washington a number of times lobbying, and I'm absolutely delighted. And you can feel it in the community, how happy the community is right now when the tariffs have been lifted. They're elated.
I've got to take a quick break, Terry.
Sure.
Let's come back after the break. I want to talk about the steel and the tariffs a little bit more. We'll be right back with Terry Sheehan, the MP of Sault Ste. Marie, right after these commercial messages.
At Maitland Ford Lincoln, we see our trucks everywhere. We see them on Queen Street, Lake Street, North Street, Bay Street, 2nd line, 3rd line, 4th line, Pine Street, Great Northern Peoples Road, Wellington, Cora Road, Bruce Street, Carmen's Way, Northern Ave, Trunk Road.
Folks come from all over Algoma District and beyond to buy their truck at Maitland Ford Lincoln. Amazing prices, outstanding service.
King Street, Shannon Road, Goulet Bay, Black Road, Government Road, and even on Pine Shores.
Yep, our trucks are everywhere. Get yours at Maitland Ford Lincoln, built for Northern life, on Great Northern Road, just north of the hospital.
With over 45 years of experience, All Ontario Well Drilling offers hydrofracking and all well drilling services. Call 705-575-8088 or 705-257-9495.
I'm doing whatever it takes, stopping and nothing, I'm up in your face, shaking it off, no matter the cost, I'm feeling the wind, I'm taking it all, I'm paving the way with the sweat and the blood, I'm at the top, rising above, I want the gold, give me the rush, Queen Midas, I got the touch. I'm pushing, 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 I'm pushing.
Housed in a 15,000 square foot custom manufacturing facility built to produce world-class cabinetry at surprisingly affordable prices, Great Lakes Fine Cabinetry brings your project from initial concept to final design. Proudly providing Northern Michigan and the Algoma region with quality hand-built cabinetry for the past 20 years. Located at 844 East 3 Mile Road, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Great Lakes Fine Cabinetry, making your cabinetry dreams come true.
Welcome back to ONNPoint. I'm Andy Martins. We're having a great time talking to Terry Sheehan, our MP of Sault Ste. Marie. Thanks for doing this, Terry. Before the break, we were talking about the steel tariffs and that. Was there ever a time where you thought, you know, this could be ending soon, when you were going to Washington and you're the chair of the Steel Caucus in this country?
Yes, you could start to see it in the body language and the uncomfortableness of the both the Senate and the House of Representation at the House of Reps in the United States. And a lot of it had to do with our counter tariffs. And as you know, we did dollar for dollar. It was very measured, $11.6 billion, not only on steel and aluminum, but other items, pickles, bourbon, sleeping bags. And they were selected, targeted with laser precision to have the most effect. And we're a small country, but we certainly do punch above our weight. So we were able to put those on, and it started affecting them. So the 232 tariffs based on national security was absurd. You know, we continued to push that. So we had some movement. We had a little bit of a setback when the Ford government had called for the surrender of you know, our counter tariffs and the capitulation. That was unfortunate because it sent the wrong signal. But the steel industry itself, the steel workers, and pretty well all of the country had said that that was not correct to, you know, just to take those off and hope that you know, Trump would change. So that set us back a little bit. They then said later that they were only calling for a half capitulation, you know, on half of the items, and then they said, oh, we really wanted to review it. And that was echoed, though, by the federal government, where you saw people like O'Toole calling our counter tariffs dumb. Well, they weren't dumb, they worked.
They had results, kind of thing, basically.
They did. You get punched, sometimes you have to punch back. And, you know, we don't like to, but we're certainly not going to just take it on the chin and, you know, just, you know, drop on our knees and beg that these things are resolved. And you got to remember that the 232 tariffs were a world tariff. They applied to Europe, Asia, a whole bunch of places. And I was delighted. And the week prior to that happening, we were sent down as a team, Team Canada, to go down and meet with a number of politicians and stakeholders down there. And we had about 40 meetings, and you could really see the difference, Andy, as you mentioned, in their body language and how they did. Trudeau was calling Trump at the same time, and then you saw Freeland there the week after, and we actually had the tariffs lifted. There was a proviso. They said, albeit if there was any surge. So everyone was, okay, what does the surge mean, Andy? And well, what we decided to do was put what they call safeguards in place on all steel products, which would, although there is no surge, if there ever was one, it's a tool in the toolbox that they could use. And I was pretty shocked to find out that the Conservatives across the floor opposed it. We had asked for unanimous consent. This is something the steel industry had asked for. This is something the steel workers had asked for. And they did not give unanimous consent, so it came down to us debating in the House, which I was proud to stand up for the steelworkers in Sault Ste. Marie in Canada, and we got it through, but it didn't receive royal assent until Friday, you know, the day after the House rose. It was that close to not happening, and quite frankly, the 232 tariffs could have been put back on, and that was irresponsible by the opposition.
The Conservatives should have known how important steel is to this community and to Hamilton and other communities in Canada.
And you're absolutely right. There is 123,000 direct and indirect jobs. Sault Ste. Marie, 40% of our GDP is based on steel. We are very dependent on it, so we are glad that we were able to get you know, the safeguards in place. So you know, Trudeau was able to tell Trump that we also have put these safeguards in place. We have one of the strongest regimes, trade regimes, in the world. Since being elected, we've applied many measures that the steel industry and the steel unions have been asking for years. In fact, there were some of my first meetings when I first got elected in 2015, stating that for the last 10 years they'd asked the previous government for these changes, and it never happened. So no, the Conservatives have not been strong on the steel file. They've been very soft. And now that we have this, you can really feel it. I was at Canada Day yesterday, and there's a very positiveness in the air. There's an elation. We know that we have a very strong economy locally. Algoma Steel is hiring once again, and we're seeing a lot of small and medium-sized businesses starting, and we're supporting not only steel but a variety of different businesses, as you can tell from the announcements we've made that are helping diversify the economy.
And when you started your term as MP, it wasn't always that way. It was quite devastating. 2015, 2016 was a rocky road when you started.
Well, you're absolutely right. I was elected, and 2-3 weeks later, Algoma Steel announced that they were going into CCAA. So we were able to work with Algoma Steel throughout, that process and those changes. And we did announce, as you know, $90 million in loans and grants to help them to grow, to invest into the steel plant. That's going to leverage a $300 million investment. They're already beginning the processes there. They've restructured, they have a new board in place, they have a new management team, and so you're going to see a lot of movement and economic activity spurred on because of that, Andy. And you're right, it was rocky roads at the beginning. Other things that Algoma Steel came forward to me and said, we want to be part of the Canada Shipbuilding Program. We were shut out before. Terry, can you help us? So I met with the various politicians and bureaucrats, and I'm pleased to see that Algoma Steel has gotten a piece of the shipbuilding program, which is going to be
That was excellent news, yes.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. So what a difference a couple of years made. We went from a very weak position a few years ago to seeing one of our best economic economies that we have seen in a while. But
it's really been a successful end to the term, hasn't it?
It really has been. I think the investments that we made throughout the term, at the beginning, you're seeing fruition, coming forward. I was just at the RITAC, I call it the RITAC, reopening the waterfront, Sioux Falls waterfront. We invested in there. You're seeing a lot of these new developments happening. Our post-secondary institutions, Andy, you're right. We invested in 2016, 2017. You're seeing the new buildings at Sioux College, at Algoma University, the Initiative Discovery Center, and that's training Siouxites and people from all over Northern Ontario, Canada, and the world. And you're seeing the growth at our colleges and universities, something we haven't seen in years.
Great. In our remaining moments, Terry, what's your message now? The election will be October 21st. To the voters, to the residents of Sault Ste. Marie, what's your message going to be during this election campaign?
Well, that's a great question, Andy, a really good question. And I think that right now it's absolutely critical that we continue on the path forward, a positive path that we're seeing growth in economic activity. Andy, we've known each other for years. My background is in business and economic development, and I think that's helped me help the community. Think about Noront. Noront has just chosen us as a partner community, and I've worked very closely with them, meeting with them in Ottawa, Sault Ste. Marie, Toronto, and it's critical that I continue over the next 4 years to work with people like Noront. That's 1,500 construction jobs, 500 permanent jobs, but that could be lost easily in the wrong hands.
That's right. You've done an excellent job on that file, and we look for more things. Like you say, there is more work to be done.
Absolutely, Andy, and it's absolutely an honor representing the riding of Sault Ste. Marie. There are so many good things happening right now, but we have to continue down that path. You got to make hay while the sun shines, and so we're going to keep working hard and capitalize on the opportunities that we've already created and create even more opportunities.
The future of Algoma Steel looks pretty bright at this point, I would think, after the steel tariffs were lifted. And
it does. The steel plant is in a good spot. And one of the things that we continue to do is invest in the steel plant, but we also diversify the economy. We're investing in information technology businesses here. You're seeing that sector growing substantially. And also one of the things that we need to do is look at skills and trades development, because that is the growth issue. The businesses are telling me that they they need a wide variety of people to continue to work. So we got to train our own people. Some people that are in jobs right now need to be retrained. So we're investing in training programs for people of up to about $5,000 for people that are currently employed to train for the new economy. We've invested in labor market agreements for unemployed and underemployed people to retrain, and we're investing in our colleges and universities here locally to provide that training. And we have a number of other programs. You need lots of tools in your toolbox, but that's the new reality of the growth. So every time we have, I'm told by businesses, a particular skill set, could be a tradesperson, could be an engineer, could be whatever, that one job that they attract or train to create also creates a suite of jobs around them for a whole bunch of people in Sault Ste. Marie that need to support that job. So it's critical that we do that, and it's a growth problem that we're tackling, and we are investing. My background is in training and economic development, so that's another thing that we're going to need to work on over the next 4 years too, Andy.
And you've also announced the immigration pilot project too, which is a great win for this community.
It sure is. You saw a lot of the industries like JD Aero, Algoma Steel, talking about the need to have an immigration pilot program, which basically expedites the process that's already in place, and so that aligned with all the investments that we have made in our post-secondary institutions and the investments in training that are available to all people. Definitely create a new position. We're working with area First Nations. You saw our investments in Plato, which is creating junior software developers, which is very exciting. So yeah, we have a lot of plans in place, and we're going to help everybody.
Awesome, Terry. Thanks so much for coming in. We're going to have you back before the federal election in October. Thanks so much for taking the time. We'll be right back to wrap up the show after these commercial messages.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Listen to them. Children of the night.
Alive! It's alive!
Welcome to the Machine Shop, our historic venue and gathering place for friends and family. Built in 1899 on the site of a Northwest Company trading post. Today we are a go-to venue hosting many expos, concerts, weddings, and more. While you're here, choose one of our dining experiences. Enjoy a quiet dinner at the Mill Steakhouse and Wine Bar, watch a game and try wood fire oven pizza and local draft at the Boiler Room, or treat yourself every day to gelato and local coffee at the Gelato Mill. For more information on the Machine Shop, visit machineshopinc.ca.
Thanks for coming back. That's a show for today, folks. Thank you so much for Terry Sheehan, the MP of Sault Ste. Marie, coming in. We've got a lot of great guests in this new month. Among them, Kristen Trembinski, the broker of record of Exit Realty, will be here, and many others. We'll see you next time, folks. For ONNPoint, I'm Andy Martins. Thanks for watching.